This session is going to be unusual because it is going to be dominated by something that only happens once every 10 years, and that is redistricting. Redistricting will mean that legislators will be redrawing all the political boundaries for the House and Senate and the congressional districts. Because of that, everyone that is in the legislature is either term limited out or will be running in a new seat, and the new seat, they don't know what the boundaries are going to look like coming up. That makes everything very uncertain and very anxious. And as a result, I don't expect a very ambitious session at all. I think the other things they'll focus on will be the budget. That's the only other constitutionally required thing they must address, and they have to fill a $2 billion budget hole. They will also be trying to address some other items. There's a move to address personal injury insurance and the fraud that's related to that auto insurance requirement. There's an attempt to do some more reforms with education, especially higher education. They want to address tenure for university faculty. And there is a move to expand vouchers in charter schools. Those are all pretty big bites, however, and if they antagonize constituencies that legislators don't want to make mad in a very tenuous election year, the likelihood of anything ambitious passing from those things are small. The new constitutional amendments that were passed that address redistricting do something that has never been done before, and that is it requires the legislature to draw districts without taking into account partisanship or incumbency. And that's something that's never been done. However, I'm not so sure it's going to be a giant game changer. I think in the end we will see that they will be drawing districts that ultimately will pit some incumbents against other incumbents, but I think that we will see something that will not shake up the balance of power too dramatically. Instead, what may happen is it may be a slow shift, and in time, maybe in another decade, we may see more pragmatic or larger shifts in the political balance. Because Tallahassee is in a part of the state that very few people visit, there is not a lot of evident citizen participation in the legislative process. And so because of that, I would say that the most effective thing people can do is to hold their legislators accountable. One thing that is pretty astounding to me is the number of legislators that get elected with virtually no competition. They walk into office without a competitor. They get elected just by putting their name on the ballot because everyone is afraid to run against them and just assume that they will lose. The other thing is that once they're in office, it's almost a guaranteed seat for 8 years. And so if people don't make an effort to either keep them to run people against them or challenge them and hold them accountable, then they don't listen as much, I think, to the public. So there are a couple things. I think that people really should not only hold their legislators accountable, listen to what they're saying, track their votes, and echo the questions that journalists ask. I mean, if you watch a TV question and answer with somebody and a legislator is not answering a question, when you have an opportunity to see them, ask that question back. Just don't let people get away with not answering questions, which is so easy to do right now because there's so few people really holding their feet to the fire.